All right, everyone. Well, good afternoon, good morning from wherever you're joining us here today. My name is Teresa Hebron, and I'm the Program Director for Mountain West Digital Library, and I'm the co-chair of the Outreach and Assessment Working Group. This is the second session in our series, Resourcefully Assessing Critical Approaches to Assessment. Last month, we covered quality assessment of open education resources, or OERs. And our final event will be next month on August 8th, when we're going to hear from the Digital Content Reuse and Assessment Framework Toolkit, or DCRAFT for short, project team about their work. But today, this is Wikimedia Metrics and Tools, and we're going to be hearing from various members of the Wikimedia Working Group. Our presenters today in order of appearance are Rachel Helps, who is the Wikimedian in residence at Brigham Young University Library, Evan Robb, who is the Digital Repository Librarian at Washington State Library, Christine Ferenczewner-Eslow is the Metadata Technologies Program Manager at Harvard Library Information and Technical Services. Jamie Flood is the Senior Wikimedian and Outreach Coordinator at the Agriculture Law Information Partnership at the United States Department of Agriculture, National Agriculture Library. And finally, Giovanna Fontanelli is a program officer for the Culture and Heritage team at the Wikimedia Foundation. So we are recording this session. If you'd like to take a moment to make sure that your audio is muted by pressing the microphone icon at the bottom of the toolbar on the left side of your Zoom screen, we'd appreciate that. If you need to drop out early for any reason, thank you so much for coming today. And DPLA will be making this recording available shortly after. Please feel free to use the chat to post any questions or to join the conversation along the way. And I understand there's going to be a lot of tools and resources shared and discussed and demonstrated here today, but the links will be shared in the slides and with the description of the video when it's made available. And finally, we'll have a brief feedback survey that I'll pop the links in the chat if you want to give us some feedback on today's session. And I'll share that towards the end of the session today. So with that, I will turn things over to Rachel to get started.
I lied. Rachel, do you want me to do the introduction?
Yeah, I think we're planning on Jamie to intro
Yeah.
and then I'll go.
I lied when I sent it and said in order of appearance because I'm actually going to be the first person. Just let me remember how to make this. There we go, slideshow. Okay. Can everybody see that? Hopefully you can. So hi again, my name is Jamie, and then trying to get the slides to move. There we go. So these are the tools that we're going to cover today. I realize it's quite a lot. I do have our emails, our list of email at the end. So if you have any questions about any of the things we go through today, please feel free to email us. But I'm going to go ahead and get us started just so we can move through everything quickly. Let me move this. There we go. That's a little better. So, oops. So the Digital Public Library of America Wikimedia Working Group is chaired by myself and Evan Robb, and that includes 8 other individuals, including Dominic. And we help kind of guide some of the Wikimedia work of DPLA, and then 2 of our big projects that we're working on right now is a meta base page pilot where we outline the Digital Public Library of America pipeline and then show all the different hubs on there and their material that is in Wikimedia Commons. And then that includes an archive of presentations like this one, as well as best practices documents for editing around like Wikipedia, Wikidata, and Wikimedia Commons. And then, of course, is information about the DPLA pipeline and how to join the service, and then some of the things you can do to prepare for that. This image is from 2017 and it shows the Met collection. And one of the biggest parts of this introduction is, why does this matter? Metrics is an important part of our work, and as GLAM institutions, one of our main driving forces is collection access. And this is a great demonstration of the power of Wikipedia. The red line shows page views from the collection on the Met Museum website, and then the 2 blue lines show views of images in Wikipedia. So these are the images that the Met uploaded, and as you can see, they end up getting a lot more. And so I'll talk a little bit more about that, but first I want to just share where do the pipeline uploads even live? They live on Wikimedia Commons. I'll put the link in the chat when I'm done, but that's category : media contributed by the Digital Public Library of America. And then you can go through by each hub or each my mind, I lost the word I was going to say. Each contributor. There we go. Sorry. And then if you, hopefully you can see my cursor, this little blue box, page views for this category. If you hit expand, you can see this, which is a month by month breakdown since the beginning of this category. And you can see that in total, all of the images that all of the items that Digital Public Library of America has uploaded have over 9 billion views. And so this breaks it down month to month. And so that's kind of part of what I was talking about is why does this tracking matter? Is it's such a great way to show why this work matters and demonstrate the level of access that you're getting on Wikipedia itself. I think it's important, of course, to demonstrate page views of our own websites, but it's also important to show how much more we're usually getting on Wikipedia. I think one of the important things too that Wikipedia offers that maybe isn't on our website is context. If you look closely at some of the uploads, you'll like there was one I was looking at earlier and it just said 17 men. There were no names. there was no information about where that image was taken and stuff like that. And so a lot of times Wikipedia will give more context about, you know, what is this image? Who's in it? And that's one of the things I'll talk about too in a minute is some of the editing that like a volunteer or a student worker could do is they can update some of the information associated with the uploads on Commons to add more context. And we do have a presentation that Dominic did that talks about some of that work. So tracking gives us a better picture of the impact of pipeline uploads outside of just institutional page views. And of course, you don't have to edit, but editing on Wikipedia does provide a really easy opportunity for volunteers, especially for those who maybe can't come in person or can't come regularly in person. Helping them learn how to edit Wikipedia, which we can help you facilitate that. Gives them an opportunity to volunteer remotely and share their time, even if they can't be there in person. And like I said, we're here to help you if you're interested in learning how to edit more or learning how to edit some of the information associated with the uploads or to add metadata, additional metadata, things like that. So I'm going to go ahead. And then this is just another, I'm sorry. This graphic here, again, demonstrates the difference in views from the artwork page on the Met Museum website. The light blue is on English Wikipedia, and then that darker blue is in all languages. So you'll find a lot of images are used across the different language versions of Wikipedia. It's another really valuable reason to have it in Commons is it enables more people globally to find the information that you have. And then this is just another, it's a little outdated, but this is just another graphic determining usage of DPLA items. Over 47,000 pages have been enhanced with items from DPLA. You know, obviously, again, it's being used outside of English Wikipedia as well. So now I'm going to pass it off to Rachel.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen for this, but let's see. Mass views are what I consider the foundational metric for that a lot of other tools use. So let me just show you how to access this from any given Wikipedia page. This is a page that I created recently. I want to show you because I was searching for images that used the log cabin quilt block, and I was able to find this one on Wikimedia Commons just by Googling like quilts, log cabin, courthouse steps. And I thought that would be a great lead from the information Jamie was telling us about. You can discover images. Well, I discovered all these cool images just using Wikimedia Commons because I needed stuff to illustrate the variants of log cabin quilt blocks. Okay, so from any Wikipedia page, if you go to view history, and then if you go to page statistics, it will show you not page statistics, page views. It will show you the page views of any page on Wikipedia. And like Wikipedia itself, the code tracks these views. And since I created this page recently, it only started getting views since when I created it. So just trying to like ease you into how to read this. And when it was first created, it got a lot of views of people like probably on New Page Patrol or people looking at new pages. And after a month or so, it'll even out. It'll be like 3 views a day or something. Now I want to show you another example from a more viewed page, the Topaz War Relocation Center page. Since this is in Utah, we have related collections to it, and I've also worked on this page, but I wanted to show you that we use a lot of images from the National Archives. Like here's one, and then there's 5 in total. And what this means for image stats is that if one person looks at this page, it counts as a view for all of those images. And if I were from NARA and like reporting image views, it would count as a view for like each of those 5 images. But that view count can be somewhat inflated sometimes because like, what if I just came to this page and I just read the lead? I might not have even looked at those other images. Or if I was on mobile, it counts as a view for those images, but it might not like actually be a view. So that's going to be relevant later when we talk about the tools that use this as a base. So view history, page views, and then there's some cool things about this tool. You can change to say, oh, show me all the views from this year. And then sometimes you can trace back spikes to mentions in the media or in a classroom or something. And this is just one page, but you can use, there's the mass views part of it. This is where you can look at image views for entire categories of pages. So, say that I was interested in the quilting page. I could just copy the URL into mass views, and I want to include the subcategories. And let's see this year, what were the most popular pages in the quilting category? I was surprised when I looked at this. I was like, Faith Ringgold, who's that? She's a famous artist who works with narrative quilts. So that was really cool to find out. It's useful for more than just, hey, that's cool. I actually have I have a hidden maintenance category that I use to track all the pages that I've edited. And so, when it comes time at the end of the year to talk about what my group has done, I include this as part of my report, but I'm not sure if this is the best way to do it. There's some other ways to do it. So if you want to try this, like talk to me and we'll figure out the best way. But let's see. Oh, I forgot to do, and did I include all the subcategories? Usually, okay. Someone warned me this would happen and I didn't do this ahead of time, but usually the actors are this year. Include subcategories. Oh, include the subject page instead of talk page. Because for a variety of reasons, the talk page is where this category has to go. So you'll see that, yeah, Jimmy Stewart, he's the most popular page we've ever worked on. So that's about everything I wanted to say, and let's go on to the next person. I'll stop sharing.
Okay, that was really interesting. I've never heard of maintenance categories, so I'm learning something new already. So hi, I'm Evan. I'm at the Washington State Library, and I am a co-coordinator of the Northwest Digital Heritage Hub. And I've been using a couple of tools to gauge how our Wikimedia Commons content is being used. In addition to just those really great raw page view statistics that we're able to access through our our Wikimedia Commons pipeline page. So here's that. And you'll see that, so each institution represented here is assigned its own category, and that category is used to perform a search or a query using some of these Wikimedia tools to determine how the content is being used. So the first one I've really found useful is called Glamorous. And all you have to do is enter that exact category string here. So in this case, I've entered media contributed by a Seattle Public Library. There is, you can search, you can also include the depth of your search. To my understanding, that refers to the depth of Wikipedia or Wikimedia categories. So you could have potentially, as Rachel just pointed out, you can create multiple subcategories in Wikimedia or Wikipedia. In this case, there's only one category for Seattle Public Library's content, so I'll leave it at that. This tool also allows you to search by specific users and pages, and I haven't found that to be that useful for my uses. But this is what it looks like. So here are some individual images from the Seattle Public Library's content. The first one is a jazz pianist, and you can see that this image has been used 17 times across the Wikipedia universe, Wikipedia in multiple languages. And also down here, you'll see a Wikidata QID. Now, what that means is this picture of jazz pianist Paul Bley was used for his Wikimedia or Wikidata page. And so Wikidata is really an important part of web search. When you search Google, you'll often see a knowledge panel appear to the right of your search results, and these images from Wikidata show up in those search results. So this has really been a great way to get more of our cultural heritage content into Wikidata and then have it appear elsewhere across the web. You'll see something similar for this image of Bobby Hutton. He was an early member of the Black Panther Party, also has a Wikidata association. Margaret Pettit was a choreographer and dancer, and it's really interesting to see that not only was this image used for her Wikidata page, but it was taken up by the wiki project Women in Red. Red links in Wikipedia refer to articles that need to be created or need a little bit more work. And so it was through this tool that I learned that the Women in Red project exists, and that gave me some ideas for how our hub or our library could do some additional programming in the future, like Wikipedia editathons to focus on specific wiki projects, topics, or themes. And this also gives me a lot of great ideas for how I can do a better job of reporting on the impact or outcomes of our participation in this project. So that's Glamorous, and it kind of gives you a snapshot view of all of your content or all of a specific category's content in Wikipedia since sort of the beginning of time. You can narrow it down by date. So the Seattle Public Library has 150-ish pages using its files, and it's being used in about 40 different languages across Wikipedia. So that makes it really useful for me to report to our funders. This other tool is called Glamorgan. It's named after a county in Wales. And I've been using this more for a month level overview. It's very similar to Glamorous, but I can easily narrow it down by month to see what files are being used most commonly. So this is a search on June 2024, and we see an illustration from a alternative weekly from the 1960s in Seattle, and somebody used a 2001 Space Odyssey image from a local artist in the 2001 Space Odyssey Wikipedia page. Here's some psychedelic art from the same publication used in the LSD page for Wikipedia, so that got a lot of views. An image about being Ponzi schemes, another dancer. So this has been just a really great way to see what is being used in previous or recent months to get a sense of how the content is being used. So in addition to those raw stats about usage, I'm able to kind of create a description of how our content is being used and report that both to our institutions that are participating, give them ideas for how to do some more work in this area, and also describe the impact of this work to our statewide board that oversees how we use our LSTA funding, and to the Institute of Museum and Library Services, describing how this work that we're doing is having an impact. So yeah, those are my two tools that I've found most useful. And Jamie, can you show us your tools?
Yes, I can. If I can remember how to share. There we go. Oops, nobody wants to see, sorry, any of these things. I'm so sorry. There we go. So for those that don't know, I work at the National Agricultural Library, and one of the biggest things that I do is a lot of training around Wikipedia. And so I wanted to share two dashboards and then an editing tool that I use a lot. This first dashboard is the outreach dashboard. This one you can do a little bit more in, whereas the next one I'm going to show you, which is just the event metrics dashboard, it's a lot more basic. I use both of them just because the event metrics one, which is this one, surfaces information in a little bit different way, and I have just started using it again to kind of compare the two. So within my suggestion, if you're going to use the dashboard, is to create a campaign for your institution. So for example, we in January got to go out to Montana State University and have an edit-a-thon with them. And so we made this to track our work. And from here, like, we add in the editors, and then we track all the edits that everyone did that during that time frame of that event. And then after you make your first event, you can go into the campaigns and you can create a campaign to group all of your events together, and it will pull all of the programs. So for example, National Agricultural Library, we've done 16 programs. I need to enter our most recent one from last week, and it'll tell you how many editors were involved, and it'll kind of give you some rolling stats, and then you can go into each program and pull your stats for an individual program. I find this to be really helpful, and then we will share these slides. I do kind of go through and show you, this is the dashboard. This is what it looks like when you create a program, and then it'll automatically generate this for you, and you can add your editors to it. It's very easy to add editors. We'll go into this program, and if you click on editors, you can just add or remove, and you type each name in and hit add. So that's very helpful. But then there's also the event metrics tool, which is where you have one program, which for your institution, and then you make events within your program. So obviously I don't have all of our 16 programs that we've had over the last 5 years. In this one, I just have 3, but it shows you a little bit different data than the other one. So like, for example, on this one, it will show you the number of participants and the number of new editors, and then it will tell you if they edited again after the 7 days of the event. And so like, for example, in that one new editor didn't edit again in 7 days, but in this one that we have for our climate and food safety one, 2 people continued to edit after those 7 days. And so you see a little bit different, it has more information, has more impact, and then you can, when you create a new program, you can actually tell it what wikis to pull from. So I usually just have all wikis, that way it pulls any image uploads we might do, or if someone wants to edit in Wikimedia Commons or Wikidata or something like that, it will pull all that information into one place and not just Wikipedia edits. Sometimes I'll have editors come who only do like Wikidata stuff. And creating an event within event metrics is a little easier. You don't have to input as much information. It's just basic of the title, the time, what time zone it's in. Whereas with the outreach dashboard, it's a little bit different. For all of these 16, I've always used Editathon right here. But if I'm working with our students that we have, I'll use sorry. Yeah, I'll use like our article scoped program if it was about like a certain topic, for example, when we did Afrofuturism, or we'll use the basic if we just want to monitor like a certain person's edits. And we just do it that way because to demonstrate like, oh, our student workers have done X number of edits over the last 6 months or what have you. When you're creating a program within the dashboard, it's really basic. Title, institution, you can put in additional tracked wikis, so like you can put in Wikimedia Commons if you want to, source, what have you. I do like to put in a program description, and then you can put in like some more info and you can track it to your next item. And again, for a new event within the event tracker, it's even easier to add participants to it. As soon as you generate the event, it will ask you for participants and you just make them in a list. And then we're talking obviously a lot about images, and so I want to share the View It tool with you. That is something that Dominic and I and Kevin Peyravi worked on together. It surfaces images from Commons using linked data across Wikimedia Commons to pull in images. So for example, if I can get this to go away, we're looking at Great Smoky Mountain National Park. And since I have View It installed, I see this view button and it shows me this image carousel. And if I open it up, I can scroll through all the images, or I can even open all the images in a new window. Or I'm sorry, it loads in the screen now. And this is one that I actually just pulled, this topographic map. It is from the North Carolina, it's from the North Carolina hub. And View It, not only will it show you these images, but it also makes them really easy to add. And so I'm gonna click to edit this page. Hopefully I'm signed in. I am. And View It will still be open. Oops. Right. Sorry. Give me just a second. I'm sorry. Anyways, trying to remember how to collapse this. Okay. There we go. My apologies. So I'm gonna go back to that topographic map, and then like I said, I did have to add some linked data to it. I just made sure that it said it depicts Great Smoky Mountain National Park. But when I have View It open and I'm in editing for Wikipedia, if I hit this copy button, I can come down here, and this is the cool thing too, is there isn't a topographic map in this article. So I'm going to come down here. Into this section. I wasn't sure if there was a better one. Or here. We'll do it down here. And I'm just going to paste in the image. And I have it, oh, I don't have it pulled up here anymore. I'm going to insert a caption, hopefully. There we go. Let's see. Oops. I'm going to put in a caption for it, and then I'm going to come up here and hit publish changes. And hopefully that seemed as easy as I wanted it to be, but View It makes really easy just to copy and paste in images, and you can have, like I was saying, a volunteer or something use it and just go to topics related to your collection or to your images you might have, and they can input them using View It, or they can just go through Commons and add them that way. And I will pass it on to Christine, sorry.
No worries. Thanks, Jamie. I am going to share my screen and hit slideshow. Hello, I'm Christine. I'm at Harvard Library, and my Wikimedia involvement has largely been about Wikidata. So I'm sharing two tools that I've used in Wikidata editathons and other collaborative editing efforts, in addition to the outreach dashboards that Jamie just described. Regardless of how thorough your documentation or your instructions are, the resulting Wikidata items after an editathon or something like that will inevitably vary in quality and consistency. And these tools can help you to identify where to follow up or how to focus your next efforts. The first tool I'll show you is the Item Quality Evaluator, which I believe was developed by Wikimedia Deutschland. This generates a quality score for individual Wikidata items in a list. The list can be a literal list of queue numbers, or it can be generated by Sparkle query criteria. I won't go into the weeds about the criteria for these scores, but let it suffice that the number of statements and references, as well as labels in different languages, have an impact. I can't tell you whether it can't tell you whether those statements are true or whether the references involve high quality sources. So it's more of a measure of robustness than accuracy. The output is a simple HTML table of item labels, links, and numerical scores between 1 and 6, as well as an average score across the set. It's not unusual to see low scores, and you shouldn't take it as a judgment on your efforts. I'll attempt to switch to a live demo now in order to show you this a little bit. Oh, and yes, this is an example of a list, which we will get back to. So switching over here. A couple weeks ago, the Gutman Library at Harvard ran a small in-person Wikidata editathon to create and edit items for professional organizations for Black teachers in the US that were active in the 20th century, as well as items for presidents of those organizations. This event was in support of a digital collection called the Black Teacher Archive. Our participants were mostly graduate students who had little or no familiarity with Wikidata. We had a dashboard to track who did what, like what Jamie showed, but we wanted to dig into the results of that collective effort so that we could plan a scaled up editathon based on the lessons learned. So I constructed a very basic Sparkle query. The Sparkle interface in this has some of the same like helper bells and whistles as the query builder that you normally see in Wikidata. And so this is basically, if you look at the mouse overs, it's just saying any of the items that it retrieves are on the focus list of the, where did the mouse over go? Of course, this is how live demos go. These are all items that are on focus list of the project Black Teacher Archive. So we click on the button that says assess item quality, and it gives us back a list. You can sort the score to see where the outliers are. By default, it shows you the lowest scores first, which is slightly demoralizing. And you can sort it the other way too. High scoring items are likely to be Wikidata entities that existed well before your project, so that they've had time to get fleshed out by many humans and bots. It's not a huge surprise that Mary McLeod Bethune is scored at 4.86. She was the president of the Florida State Teachers Association, but she was also famous for other stuff. Switching back to slides at this point. There's no way to share the results. Oops, no. There's no way to share the results page directly with your collaborators, but you can download a CSV snapshot of the results to use as you see fit or to import into other applications. The second tool I'll show you is integrality. I have no idea why there are two A's in it, but they're there. This requires a little more effort to set up, but generates more granular and customized output. Rather than scoring overall robustness of a set of Wikidata items, integrality provides an overview of the inclusion of specific properties across subsets of items as defined by the user. It's a good way to see where data is thinner. For example, in our Black Teacher Archive example, it might reveal that we specifically lack headquarters locations for organizations, so that in the next editathon, we can make sure that we have resources lined up for that kind of research. Besides assessing items in terms of your project's goals, it's also great at generating lists of items that need specific kinds of improvement. Because it can be embedded in a wiki page, it's great for sharing information with collaborators. Because it leans heavily on color coding, I like it as a snapshot of collective progress as the colors shift from this pale, sickly green to a robust dark blue. In this example, which Giovanna, who is about to speak next, that she provided, each row provides information about museum items in a different country. So the groupings are over here. You can see that there's thorough coverage of geographic information for Brazilian museums. This is the geographic bit. But there's very thin information about the date of official opening for this particular subset of museums. Switching to the live version of this page before we wrap up. Here we go. Switching to the live version of this page. We can zoom in on that subset of items by clicking on the magnifying glass. Sometimes that takes an incredibly long time because it's basically running a Sparkle query. So I've actually preloaded all of the resulting pages from this. So that gives you a page that looks like this. And it says, if you click on all items without the property set, which is like a slightly opaque wording, it gives you this fairly complex Sparkle query, which runs on one line. And I've sort of preloaded it over here so that you can see the whole query if you happen to speak Sparkle. So it's generating a complex Sparkle query that fetches, in this case, a list of Brazilian museums that each need a statement added for official opening day, which goes beyond what you can easily construct using the query helper UI. So there you go. And back to slides. As I mentioned earlier, this takes a little bit more learning and tweaking to set up effectively. In this example from the Integrality Tools landing page, which is about red pandas in this case, you can see that it requires some familiarity with wiki markup for tables, maybe a little Sparkle, and a number of decisions about Q and P numbers. But it's worth it to get a better sense of the work that remains in your project. Now I'll pass the mic to Giovanna.
Thanks, Christine. So I'll be sharing my slides as well. Just a second. So I hope you can see my screen. So thank you everyone who presented so far. It is, always good to see again all the the tools that I have been using so much in my work as well, and see the live demos. So I'm Giovanna Fontanella. I am based in São Paulo, Brazil. That's why my accent, the way that I speak. I am a program officer for the Cultural Heritage team at the Wikimedia Foundation. And I will be talking for the next few minutes about what my team has been doing in the field of Wikimedia tools and metrics. I chose this image here to open my part of the slides because just let me just a second. I chose this image to open my part of the slides because it's showing, a bridge that's connecting two places. So a place that you are and a place that you want to go, and is being built. And this is the idea that I want to pass with my presentation, because even though we just saw a lot of amazing, awesome tools from all the presenters here today. And we do have many more in the Wikimedia community, including even also some games, which is an interesting topic for a future presentation as well. It is sometimes difficult to maintain all of that because, it's a complex set of communities, different languages, a lot of data, a lot of images. So it's a difficult, complex environment. And so because of that, there is a lot of work that we are doing, but a lot of work that still needs to be done in these two different topics, tools and metrics. And so I just wanted to say here that we know what is needed. And here it's a little bit about that. So in terms of tools, we know that we need tools that really work. And I mean really work in the sense that sometimes some tools, as they are, volunteer developed and maintained, sometimes it's not always reliable that you're gonna have that tool working or not, which is completely fine when we have like a volunteer movement like the one that we are inserted into. So tools that are well maintained and responsive, and tools that act on what is needed by the community. In terms of metrics, we know that we need metrics that are more reliable and stable. We also know that we need metrics that are less complex and that operate at scale. And we know that we need impactful data and meaningful visualizations. And so this is what we know that we need. We know that the communities, and especially the Cultural Heritage Wikimedia community, has been saying that they need. And I'm going to show a little bit of what we are working on to get to this point, right? So in terms of tools, one of the projects that is happening right now is the GLAM Wiki CSI, so Contribution Study Initiative, which is a project to access the contribution pipeline in the Wikimedia technical infrastructure for supporting cultural heritage partnerships and projects. This project, it examines the ongoing efforts from the Smithsonian Institution and other cultural heritage partners to produce real-life user stories from various GLAM Wiki efforts. It is being run by Andrew Lee from the Smithsonian. He's a Wikimedia at large there. It is funded by our team. And some of the goals that this project has is to establish a focus groups for more in-depth interviews, develop first draft personas, user stories, and user journeys, identify tools that should be mentioned as helpful in the final report, and diagnose gaps in tools for GLAMs. There is, if you are part of a GLAM institution, or if you are a Wikimedian who likes to work with cultural heritage content, we have a survey that it is still open at this point, gathering information for this study, for this research. There is the short link there if you want to participate. And there's also the short link for the project page as well. In terms of metrics, this is actually a very important presentation for me today, because we are launching a new data set, a new product that is offering better metrics. It is being launched right now. It's already live, but we have not been communicating it just yet. We are publishing probably later today the official blog post launching this this project, this data set, and it is called Commons Impact Metrics. It is a new data product offering monthly data dumps and a new Wikimedia Analytics API for Wikimedia Commons categories of images relating to cultural heritage. And so this has been the work of the collaboration of two teams, so the data projects and the cultural heritage team. And using this data, Commons contributors and their partners can count monthly edits in a category, identifying their most active contributors and most viewed files, and understand which Wikimedia projects, languages, and articles are using their images. The goals are, as I was saying before, to address some of the problems that I mentioned. So it's more reliable, that it's going to be maintained by two teams. And I want to thank Virginia Pondestone and Marcel Huisvorms for this work as well, and also Fiona Romeo from my team. And also not only more reliable, but less complex with pre-computed data. It's now raw data. It is more stable, so it goes, the depth of that is 7 subcategories on Wikimedia Commons. It works at scale, so categories with up to 1 million files, and it's very well documented. Some important considerations is that we have monthly granularity, so once a month, these metrics are updated. And we use page views instead of media requests because we thought it was important for our partners and contributors to see which articles their images are illustrating. And so I'm gonna do a quick, I hope, demo. So this is the page where you're gonna access this tool, right? And I selected this get time series of edit contests for a given category. And I also have the category that I want to use here, which is the main one from the DPLA. So when you click here, you can add a category. It is just like part of their UL, so with the underscores, right? And you can choose the scope of this category. So I will go with deep. And I will choose all edits types. And I'm gonna choose, let's see if this works. All right. This is the first time, one of the first times that I'm actually using this tool. So you are gonna see this happening really, really kind of live. So here is how it will present this data. So depending on the day, the edit count that was made within this category, right? Within the category that we see from the DPLA. And another option that I want to show you is this other one. So get time series of page view counts for a given category. And for this one, I chose a category from the Boston Public Library. So we can add the category here. Also, I'm gonna choose the scope for deep, and then I'm gonna choose English Wikipedia and these dates. And we can see that the page view for this specific time stamp is this number here. So it's a very, like, as you can see every day, a very large number, right? Oh, sorry, every month, a very large number, right? Of course, that we understand that there's still work there. We need to make sure that this work is, you know, in a better kind of visual presentation when we are working on that. We hope to get that at some point. And for lastly, I wanted to show you this get ranking of wikis with most page view for a given media file. And I chose one of the most kind of non-used images from the DPLA, which is one from President Kennedy. And I'm gonna use this time stamp, and this is what it delivers. So this image from Kennedy, it has been the page view, the total page view is this one. So 4 million in this specific month, almost 5 million, just on English Wikipedia. And that's it. I just want to, before I go, just leave this slide with all the short URLs for everything that I just talked about. And if you want to add your category to the list of categories that are being tracked by this data set, you can also do that by using this link.
All right, that was great. Thank you, everyone. I think we have a little bit more time left before the top of the hour. If anyone had any questions that they would like to either unmute or put in chat, and we can read out for answers.
As Giovanna was talking about the new API, I was thinking, wouldn't it be great if in the future of the DPLA, we could somehow integrate this
Can you turn it down?
usage data into the DPLA public site itself in some way? So, you know, for a record in DPLA, actually showing how much use that image is getting in across the Wikimedia universe would be really, really great for end users to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, as everything that is wiki, it's all open, so it can be integrated and can be worked on and can be replicated and built upon. So yeah, that would be possible, I would say. Maybe Dominic would have some ideas for it.
Well, I didn't come prepared to answer that question, but I will just say I agree, and that it seems very possible, hypothetically, as long as we, you know, had a way in which we knew the look, like what the image was from the item page, that, you know, it's a simple API call to get those sorts of that data. So it's hypothetically possible. I will actually throw a question out if, as long as there's no other one that's come in. I think a couple of people alluded to this maybe, but I was just going to ask if any of the presenters had any actual examples they could share of times that they used this data, or if you're doing this regularly, how are you actually reporting this data to your institution or elsewhere?
I personally use the dashboard data all the time, actually. So personally, as a contractor for the federal government, after each event, I am expected to report back about the impact of the event. I put it in air quotes annoyingly because I think sometimes it's hard to determine what the impact is from like one event. That's why I like using both dashboards, is I like knowing if someone continued to edit afterwards, because that is a question I get a lot, is how successful was I at retaining editors? And so personally, I usually screenshot that little blue bar that tells like how many people edited, how many articles were edited. My at NAL, they care most about like how many references were added and the source of those references. So if it came from a USDA source, which will offer with the caveat of it's difficult, because I always tell people, especially when we're writing a new article, we can't use only USDA sources. Like that's the whole point in Wikipedia, is you're supposed to have a balanced viewpoint. And you know, you have to integrate sources from multiple places. And so, which is also very easy because that's one of the great things about USDA. So many people are collaborating with others at other institutions that you end up being able to pull really quality information. It doesn't just come from one source. So yeah, I use it literally all the time, and it's nice to have that like little bar. It makes it look very professional when I show it to them, and then I can kind of scroll through and let them know like what references were used. And one of the ways that I kind of control what references are used is when I'm putting together like a work list, I include a lot of references from from our collection, but also from collaborators and from other like secondary resource sources, so like journals and stuff like that.
I also use the programs and events dashboard stats to sort of highlight like the new and significant contributions to pages we've made. They have a nice way to sort by like bytes added or like something like that. So because like we try to improve a lot of pages, but it sometimes it's just a little bit, and that helps too. And my institution's more interested in like, oh, how many people are looking at these images that don't get a lot of views in our own content DM servers. So the image tracking tools are really helpful to me. And people are always like interested, and they're like, oh, what page is it on, and like who's looking at it and why. So yeah, they're immensely helpful. I'm just looking at I don't do reporting as often as you, Jamie, but I have like an annual report, and people are always so impressed by the numbers, but I'm like, it's not just about the numbers, right?
Yes, I think that's one thing I always try to say too, is it's not just about the numbers, but it is when it's a federal institution. I did want to piggyback on that and say too, for the Digital Public Library of America, I showed those billions of page views. I have that same code that generates that box attached to our uploads on Wikimedia Commons, and ours get like 3 million views a month. And I know I keep saying it's not about the numbers. However, when I report that our images have 3 million views, there's literally no other web page on our personal website that gets anywhere near that. I think I was telling the working group earlier this week, like there's maybe one page that gets like 10,000 views in a month, but there's nothing that gets millions of views.
Right, any last question? I see we're starting to lose folks, so I think this might be our natural end. Last chance. Yeah, thank you to all of our presenters. Thank you all for coming today. Again, look for that recording soon. And if you have a chance to fill out the feedback survey, we'd love to hear what people thought and ideas you may have for future events as well. So thanks for coming, everyone, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.